All right, welcome back to another After Dark, everyone. Hope you guys had a wonderful day. Hope you guys are having a good night. And finally, as promised and requested of me, I am going to react to this video called How the Wildest NBA Player Destroyed Everyone. And this is about Dennis Rodman, the Worm. Absolute freaking monster of basketball. And this is from a channel called 2-3. I just reacted to a video from 2-3 yesterday. I didn't even realize these were both from the same content creator. So shout out, sir. Looks like you're getting a lot more attention these days. So props, congratulations. Yeah, for sure. All right. So as always, I'm going to link the original video down below. So if you want to give some love over to 2-3, go right ahead. Well earned. And everybody else, please like this video. It helps out a ton. I appreciate you guys always. And yeah, not much else to say. Let's see what this video is all about. Let's enjoy some Rodzilla stuff, huh?
Dennis Rodman, this guy, oldest of 47 siblings. You probably know him from his WWE fights, or having a different hair color every single week, or maybe you know him because of his best friend, Kim Jong-un. Anyways, this is Dennis Rodman, and it just so happens that he played basketball too. And actually, he was pretty ridiculously good at it.
Yeah, he was.
I want to start this off by saying he has one of the best stories you'll ever hear. And it all starts way back in the day, Trenton, New Jersey. Dennis Rodman, I said in the intro, oldest of 47 siblings. I was being serious. His dad had an article in the news. Dennis Rodman's dad had 27 kids and runs a bar in the Philippines. The funniest part is this means he had 20 on his mother's side, and that's the lesser of the two. But anyways, later moves to Dallas, and the craziest part, Dennis Rodman wasn't even the best basketball player in his own house growing up, or the second best. His sister Deborah, she won 2 national titles at Louisiana Tech. His other sister Kim, she was an All-American at Stephen F. Austin. Think about that. A guy who ends up making the NBA 75th anniversary team wasn't even a top 2 player in his own household growing up.
Hey, Reggie Miller can relate a little bit. He only had one, but, his sister Cheryl. But he knows what it feels like.
And that was shown in high school too. The 5'6" freshman Dennis Rodman couldn't hit a layup. And he didn't even make the basketball team. And football, he didn't make that either. So Rodman ends up graduating from high school. He was really never good at sports, so that was never really an option for him. So at that moment, he was working overnights as a janitor at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. And then all of a sudden, 5'11" Dennis Rodman hits a random growth spurt, and suddenly he's 6'7".
Yeah.
I'm making it seem like he grew that 8 inches overnight. Definitely not. But in some time, he did. He randomly grew 8 inches after high school while working as a janitor. No joke, it's like God sent him that growth spurt. Because right after that, a family friend of his who was friends with the coach of a county college, she told him about Dennis Rodman. Yo, I know this 6'7" janitor, throw him on the squad. And well, that's exactly what happened. Dennis Rodman was now part of the Cook County College basketball team. He played one semester there though, and while he was there, he averaged 16.7 points and 13.3 rebounds.
Damn, right off the bat, 13.3 rebounds.
So dominant, really. But eventually, he did flunk out due to his academic performance. But then eventually, he transferred to Southeastern Oklahoma State University, an NAIA school. His time there, 3-time NAIA All-American. He led the NAIA in rebounding twice.
Yep.
He averaged 25.7 points, 15.7 rebounds, 64% from the field in his 3 seasons there. And he led his team to the NAIA semifinals in 1986. While in that game, he scored 46 points and grabbed a tournament record 32 boards.
It's insane. Look at him hitting jumpers, turnaround jumpers. It's crazy how much his game changed.
And he helped his team have their highest ranking in school history, number 3 in the nation. So yeah, he just dominated the NAIA.
Oof.
That's all you could really say. And because of that, he was invited to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, a pre-draft camp for guys who were like borderline NBA draft invites. The guys who's like, this is their last chance at the league. And at that camp, Rodman, he wins the MVP.
It's so cool to see that even when he was that young, he always did those dunk celebrations, right? And right away, he doesn't even hesitate for a second. Throws it down, then raises the arms up to the crowd.
And also at that camp, who's in
He's running a
attendance?
fast break.
The Detroit Pistons. Yeah, things are starting to add up. I can't find exactly who was there for the Pistons. Probably like Jody Meeks. But for real, the Pistons were there, and they saw Rodman dominate everyone at the camp. And because of that, pretend this is David Stern actually talking. With the 27th pick in the 1986 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons select Dennis Rodman, forward, Southeastern Oklahoma State. Yeah, Rodman's officially an NBA player, just a few years removed of being completely lost in his life. A guy who was uncomfortable in his own body, working as a janitor in the airport, and a few years later, he's an NBA player.
It's insane. Yeah, a couple years before this, he wasn't even a good athlete. He wasn't even considered a good athlete. Now he's a professional basketball player because that growth spurt, and he just starts dominating. Where did he get that jump shot from? Wow, how did he get so good at that?
And he isn't just joining any team. He's joining the Detroit Pistons, a team that already has Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Adrian Dantley, Bill Laimbeer, Vinnie Johnson, John Sally. The identity of this team? Toughness. I mean, they're literally called the Bad Boy Pistons. This team was annoying to play, rough, loud. But while we're talking about volume, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Raycon. No joke.
Raycon. You guys ever use Raycons? I have not, but they've been around for a while. All right, guys, if you want some Raycons, there's a coupon code here. And this is a new enough video where you can get your coupon code, all right? You can support 2-3.
Raycon purchase. Thank you again to Raycon. All right, back to the video. But Rodman, now a Piston, he wasn't anything special his rookie season. 6.5 points, 4.7 rebounds, 15 minutes per game. But he did play his ass off.
Jesus.
And he showed how he was going to impact games in that way. Loose balls, hustle plays, just the winning plays, really. But the next season, Dennis Rodman, a starter for the Detroit Pistons, well, 32 of the 82 games, but he was clearly already getting so much better. This time around, he averaged 11.6 points and 8.7 rebounds. And although the Pistons did end up losing to the Lakers in 7 in the finals, this was just the beginning for them. Because the next season now, Adrian Dantley, he gets traded. And what does that mean? More minutes for Dennis Rodman. And how does that turn out? Well, Dennis Rodman makes the all-defensive team for the first time in his career.
Dang.
A guy that couldn't even make his high school team less than a decade ago, a top 10 defender on the planet.
Yeah, imagine
and fast forward to June of '89, the Detroit Pistons right back in the NBA Finals, and it's a rematch versus the Lakers. Last year it went to 7. This time, the Pistons win at 4. And that includes a Game 3 performance where Dennis Rodman grabbed 19 rebounds with back spasms. If you ever felt back spasms, I'll tell you from my perspective at least, I'm laying on the couch for the next week.
Yeah,
sure.
and imagine, because you get a rebound, you got to jump up and then land. That landing, not only the landing, the jumping, all of it hurts. All of it hurts with back spasms. Dennis Rodman, he was a monster.
Not playing in the NBA Finals, and on top of that, I'm not grabbing 19 rebounds.
Oh, I'm playing. I don't think I can grab 19 rebounds. Like, I'm trying. I'll go out there and try, but like, I don't. Yeah, what a monster.
But anyway, the 1989 NBA champions, the Detroit Pistons. Okay, so the Pistons just won the NBA championship. Dennis Rodman wins his first ring in the NBA. And well, let's run it back. Because it's now the 89-90 season, and Rodman averaged 8.8 points and 9.7 rebounds. More rebounds than points.
Yep.
That becomes a common theme throughout his career.
For sure.
Oh yeah. And he won the Defensive Player of the Year award. An undersized power forward, the height of a smaller small forward, a lot of the time a taller shooting guard, wins Defensive Player of the Year. And once again, fast forwarding to June, the Pistons, they make it right back to the finals. But Rodman, he messes up his ankle, but it didn't matter. He played right through it. And the Detroit Pistons, back-to-back NBA champions. This time being the Portland Trail Blazers. And why wouldn't they run it right back? This time though, in the 90-91 season, they decided to make Dennis Rodman their full-time starting small forward. Yeah, the 3. You know, the spot that most guys play that, they can shoot the ball. And yeah, Dennis Rodman couldn't shoot the ball, but he could grab the hell out of rebounds.
Where did his shot go? Because obviously he had a shot in college, which I wasn't aware of. When did he lose that shot? I mean, you see it during his free throws that his shot wasn't really there anymore. But then he would surprise us once in a while and just swish a 3-pointer. It was just the biggest enigma ever in basketball. I can never truly figure out Dennis Rodman. I feel like I always felt like he's a better shooter than he was letting on. And watching him play in college, I'm starting to think I was right. Because I think he could shoot. He just didn't want to focus on that part of his game. He cared about defense, rebounding, and he was more comfortable with the idea of other people like an Isaiah Thomas, a Joe Dumars, and then later on a Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan to do the scoring. And he was willing to provide the thing he was excellent at because, I don't know, you can't take him out of the lineup because what he gives you is not something that anybody else can give you. You know, no offense to anybody like Isaiah, Joe D, you know, Pippen or Jordan, but they're not going out there and getting you 20 rebounds in this game and guarding Shaq. They're not going to do those things. They're going to go out and get you, know, like MJ would get you 30 points, and there are other players who can get you 20-something points, but nobody else is going to do what Dennis does. And I think that's why he focused on it. Not sure if he thought about it as much as I just did there, but I know he can shoot. That's all I'm going to say. I know he can shoot. It's in there. He has it in him.
Actually, he finished that season averaging 8.2 points and 12.5 rebounds.
His rebounds going up every year.
And guess what? Another deep boy, back-to-back, like Jordan 96-97, except that didn't happen yet. Maybe like Bill Russell, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. Imagine Drake said that. But anyway, the Pistons did end up getting swept by Michael Jordan in the playoffs, but that's not what this is about. This is about Dennis Rodman, who I believe, yes, he won Defensive Player of the Year also the year before, but 91 was his true breakout season. And in his own words, Dennis Rodman could shut down any opposing player from point guard to center.
Yeah.
Yeah. That means Muggsy Bogues to Yao Ming. Shout out Yao Ming.
He did it. He did it too.
Should have been an all-time great. Injuries sucked.
Yeah, no kidding.
Anyways, back to Rodman. Get this. We said he averaged 12.5 boards in 91. That would be 4th last season, just behind Sabonis, Gobert, and AD.
Oh man, shout out! I was thinking the original Sabonis. Shout out to the OG Sabonis. Y'all remember him? Do you guys remember him playing on the Blazers?
12.5 is a lot, but fast forward 1 year later to the 91-92 season, Dennis Rodman, 18.7 rebounds per game.
Damn.
And quick spoiler, this is the first rebounding title you'll see before a ridiculous amount of rebounding titles in a row. We'll get to that.
18.7, man. And the offensive rebounds were always the best part of that stat. Because offensive rebounds mean second chance points. And they would convert those offensive rebounds into second chance points all the time. It was such a small little difference maker that it could make or break so many games. And nobody really gives Dennis credit for that because it's not flashy. It doesn't look great. You know, it's not the same as points. But I tell you, that was a huge difference maker, was getting those offensive rebounds. And that's what he practiced, too. He practiced off of his teammates shooting. That's all he would while they were shooting, he wasn't shooting. He was down there getting rebounds, understanding where he expects the ball to hit, where it's going to bounce to, and where he can catch it. Why? So he can get those damn offensive rebounds and get them back the ball. You know, because if Jordan's averaging 50% from the field, if he missed it, you get the rebound, you get it back to him, odds say he's going to make the next one.
The funniest part, though, the 18.7 rebounds, that went along with 9.8 points. The guy barely even scored the ball.
Hey, man, I'll take 10 points.
And if he just made the All-NBA team with less than 10 points per game, was just out there to out-rebound and out-hustle everyone. Reggie Evans before Reggie Evans. All right, that's a low-key stray. But for Dennis Rodman, the 92-93 season, arguably the most important season of his career. And the thing was, it had nothing to do with basketball. This is what happened.
Yeah.
The Pistons coach for a long while, it was Chuck Daly. Rodman looked up to Daly, and in May of '92, Daly resigns. So what does Rodman do? He skips preseason camp and was fined, and later in the season, his wife wants to get a divorce, and now his ex-wife, she ends up taking the kid they had together back to her hometown of Sacramento. And in February of '93, something crazy happens. I don't want to get any of this story wrong, so we're just going to read it real quick.
Wait a second. Before we do this, because this is pretty deep. Chuck Daly, May of 1992. I never really thought about it too much, but that means that right before he coached USA, Team USA, the Dream Team, he resigned from the Pistons, huh? I never thought about it.
In February 1993, Rodman was found asleep in his truck in the parking lot outside the Palace of Auburn Hills with a loaded .22 caliber rifle. Rodman denied reports that he was considering suicide.
Yeah.
So yeah, he denied any suicidal thoughts, but why? Well, let's read this. It was in that moment he had an epiphany. I decided that instead of offing myself, I was gonna off the imposter that was leading Dennis Rodman to a place he didn't want to go. So I just said, I'm gonna live my life the way I want to live it and be happy doing it. So yup, this is where Dennis Rodman officially becomes Dennis Rodman.
Little side tidbit, I'm about 95% sure he said that he was listening to Pearl Jam in his car when he had that epiphany as well.
And eventually, he would even talk about it in this TV movie about himself, Bad As I Want to Be, the Dennis Rodman story.
Oh, I never saw
Here's
that.
a commercial for it.
Do I make you nervous?
The family that embraced him,
Making your own way comes with a price.
the daughter that loved him, and the mother who never gave up.
I raised you to be a man.
This is who I am.
Discover the man behind the makeup.
I love you more than anything in this world.
The Dennis Rodman story, Bad As I Want to Be, ABC Sunday.
Okay, I never saw it. I remember this, but I never watched it. Did you guys watch this? I don't know what I'm thinking about right now. just thinking. Is this something I want to watch? I don't know. I heard there's a more recent Dennis Rodman documentary from the comments that I definitely want to watch. But is this even like a documentary, or is this kind of like a drama play?
Okay, so we're at the point where Dennis Rodman becomes Dennis Rodman off the court.
Yeah.
But on the court, he just got traded to the San Antonio Spurs because, well, he demanded a trade.
Yeah, and imagine him in the Spurs organization. He came out looking like Demolition Man, because that just came out at the time. Wesley Snipes' character in Demolition Man, and with the bleach blonde hair, it was freaking epic. But yeah, him and his antics, no one in the league was about to accept this version of Dennis Rodman until the Chicago Bulls did. You know, they just mind their business and let Dennis be Dennis. But no way, of all teams, the Spurs were not going to let that happen. Not the Spurs. Anybody else, you had a shot. Even Detroit, you had a shot. But yeah, not the Spurs, bro. But it was funny. I'll never forget Dennis Rodman being a Demolition Man. Like, it was one hell of a laugh.
Just wanted a new start. Think about this for a second. Picture Rodman in a Pistons jersey. This young player, skinny,
Yep.
doesn't look like Dennis Rodman.
Also doesn't look like a dude who should ever have the responsibility of guarding Shaquille O'Neal in his prime. Yet he did it, and he did it well.
And now, picture Rodman in a Spurs jersey.
There it is, Demolition Man.
Yeah. This is the Rodman we know. A different hair color every game.
Yep.
And the guy's a tank, too.
Mm-hmm.
Not the skinny kid who just came into the NBA. Dennis Rodman is now the Dennis Rodman we know.
Dude, he was still balling out, too. He got so many rebounds when he was playing in San Antonio. So he did his job. It was just the personality and off-the-court antics that San Antonio was not having. But as far as basketball, man, he was balling out.
How did his first season with the Spurs go? Well, just about an average Dennis Rodman season. Got suspended for headbutting. Watch this.
He comes up close, and he just absolutely, Stacey King did what any man would do. Somebody would.
Dennis Rodman, and he was also ejected.
Besides the headbutt, which gave him a one-game suspension,
Bang.
he was trying to help David Robinson win a ring. Rodman, his third straight rebounding title, averaging 17.3
There it is.
rebounds
Yeah, there it is. 17.3. Guy got it done.
per game. He was named to the all-defensive team, he dated Madonna, and he helped the Spurs win 55 games that season. Although the Spurs would end up losing to the Jazz in 4 in the first round, and then fast forward to the 94-95 season, the next season, the beginning of it, pretty confusing for Dennis Rodman. It started with him being suspended for the first 3 games of the season, and then he took a leave of absence on November 11th, got suspended again a month later, and then returned a couple days later after missing 19 games. So yeah, that's how his season started off. And although he did end up playing this season, he was just injured for a lot of it because of a shoulder injury from a motorcycle accident.
Oh.
The injury and suspensions would limit it to just 49 games, but Rodman, when he played,
Look
he
at
was
this
still
guy.
a monster.
Look at this
He
guy.
finished the season averaging 16.8 rebounds per game, his 4th straight rebounding title. You gotta remember, this dude is 6'7". He's not Manute Bol out there stacking boards. It's like DeMar DeRozan grabbing 17 rebounds a night.
Yeah, no, he's shorter than he's shorter than Tracy McGrady, man. Because T-Mac was 6'8", and what LeBron is 6'9". I mean, he's shorter than Magic Johnson. He's 1 inch taller than Michael Jordan, and I believe Scottie Pippen is 6'8" too, as well. So, like, he's not 7'3" getting all these rebounds. This guy had to work his ass off to get each and every one of these rebounds.
Even though Rodman did only end up playing 49 games that season, when he played, he was so good he made an All-NBA team. And the Spurs this season, dominant, 62 wins.
Nice.
The best in the NBA. And in the Western Conference Finals, they had the Houston Rockets, where Dennis Rodman, he got kind of pissed at the Spurs. The Rockets would end up winning the series in 6. And after the series, Rodman, the first thing he did, he called out Coach Bob Hill. He said he was calling plays like we were playing Minnesota in the middle of December. And he also hated how Hill wanted them to guard Hakeem Olajuwon. And he called out their manager, Greg Popovich. I think you know who that guy is. But yeah, Rodman called him out too. And at this point, Dennis Rodman lived by one thing: be his own man. I just took the chance to be my own man. I said, if you don't like it, kiss my ass. Most people around the country or around the world are basically working people who want to be free, who want to be themselves. They look at me and see someone trying to do that. I'm the guy who is showing people, hey, it's alright to be different. And I think they feel, let's go and see this guy entertain us. Well, an entertainer, that's what Dennis Rodman was.
Oh, for sure.
And what he'd become even more. Because at this point, he's just a 2-time NBA champion, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He led the NBA in rebounds for the last 4 seasons. And now, he's a member of the Chicago Bulls. Because the Spurs just traded him for Will Perdue. And with Horace Grant gone now for the Bulls, there was a wide open spot at the 4. And Michael Jordan is back from his legendary MLB career. Scottie Pippen is still Scottie Pippen. And now, you add Dennis Rodman to the mix. And what do you get? You get arguably the greatest big 3 in the history of basketball. And suiting up for the Bulls, that 10 he wore his whole career, it was retired for Bob Love. And the NBA denied 0-1 when Rodman requested it. So, well, just find 2 numbers that add up to 10. 9 and 1. And we get that legendary 91 jersey from Rodman. At the time, the trade was considered risky for the Bulls.
It was.
Really, just because Rodman was who he was. But a couple months later after the season ended, anyone who had doubts, they were completely gone.
Yeah, he needed a team like the Bulls and led by a guy like Jordan. Because Jordan can give a damn about, anything other than, are you going to do your job and do it well? And Dennis, no matter what, even though he was a huge distraction, and he was, full of wild antics, especially when he was with Chicago, he was off the rails most of the time. He showed up and he did his damn job, and he did it better than anybody else could. So that's good enough. Yeah, Popovich is a different beast. So that did not work in San Antonio. But yeah, for MJ, that's all that ever mattered. MJ never talks about the personal lives of any of his teammates. He just talks about what they did on the court, what they did in practice, what they did during the games, and that's all that mattered to him.
The Bulls ended up winning 72 games at the time, an NBA record, and Rodman, he averages 5.5 points and 14.9 rebounds. Again, a rebounding title, his 5th straight.
Look at this guy.
And we said this was a crazy elite big 3, but to make it even crazier, they were barely even friends. On the court, me and Michael are pretty calm and we could handle conversation, but as far as our lives go, I think he's moving in one direction and I'm going in the other. I mean, he's going north, I'm going south. And then you got Scottie Pippen right in the middle. He's sort of the equator. These guys are just here to hoop. But all three would end up making the all-defensive first team, which is crazy. Rodman had 20 or more boards in 11 games. Oh yeah. And he also headbutted a ref and got suspended for 6 games and fined $20,000.
Whoops.
Looked like he
Yeah, this was Dennis Rodman's like bonk phase. For all you really old heads, I don't know if you remember that video game, but just look up bonk. Look up the video game bonk, and you'll know what I mean. Because yeah, he was just headbutting the hell out of everybody. It's no wonder why he ended up, wrestling.
If he did, I don't know if he just was trying to make his point. They're trying to grab him, and now he throws his jersey back at a court, very upset.
Oh, yeah, either way, you're
That
ejected.
20,000
You're
that
out of
Rodman
there.
got fined, that might be 20 million today.
Yeah.
But Rodman did come back. He was healthy for the playoffs. And in the finals, the Bulls had a matchup with the Supersonics. Peep my Supersonics video. I'll link it at the end of this one. But Rodman was crucial against the Sonics.
100%. 100%. Dennis Rodman came through against the Sonics.
Finals. Game 2, 20 rebounds, 11 offensive, a finals record.
11 offensive. So that could potentially convert to 22 more points.
6, 19 rebounds, 11 offensive.
Again.
Tying the record. George Karl himself, the Sonics coach at the time, he said that Rodman won the Bulls 2 games in this series. So yeah, Rodman was dominating on the court this season, and then that offseason, he got married to himself.
Oh, yeah. We all know about this. There's a publicity stunt.
Yeah, he married himself. Although
It's one hell of a way to sell books, though. He did. He admits it. He admitted it later. It was a genius, brilliant way to sell books. It was his idea, though. It was his idea. He told his agent about it, and they were like, "Fuck it, let's do it." And it worked. That book was like all the rave when it came out. That's all anyone was talking about.
Part of this was to promote Bad As I Want to Be. This is still one of Dennis Rodman's most famous moments ever. And the next season, right after arguably the greatest season from a team ever, he came back just as wild. Actually,
oh man, you forgot to mention the book. That's all right. It's probably more forgotten these days.
Maybe even more wild, because in January of this season, he did this to the cameraman.
Oh yeah, no, the kick.
Challenging this penalty, but Rodman can't play while a hero. It's not like
why do you have to do it? Why do you have to do it?
Here's some reaction.
Of course, he would get suspended there 11 games, and he'd also get suspended a few other times throughout the season for other stuff, and he missed 13 games with knee problems, but when he did play, still a monster. 5.7 points, 16.7 rebounds.
Good God.
And for the 6th time in a row, the NBA rebounding leader. But you can't forget, 97, that's also when Dennis Rodman became a WWE wrestler.
Rodzilla!
Alright, this is Dennis Rodman now. And in the NBA, he was a little less effective in the playoffs because of injuries, but the Bulls still did win the championship, back-to-back, now like Jordan 96-97, literally. But although Rodman did struggle a little in that playoffs because of injuries, I mean, what do you think is going to happen when you're in the WWE? But he did come back the next season and dominate once again. 4.7 points, 15 rebounds. His 7th straight rebounding title, and the Bulls right back to the finals. Once again, the Utah Jazz. Games 1, 2, and 3, Rodman locks down Karl Malone. So what do you think happens for Game 4? You guessed it. Dennis Rodman leaves the Bulls before the game to go wrestle with Hulk Hogan.
This whole thing, yeah. I can't believe he did it still. In the middle of the freaking NBA Finals. I gotta hear that again. All right, here's Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. Yeah, that's how the 98 Finals went.
This is reality, kids. This really happened. This was real.
It did come back. The Bulls did end up three-peating. And once again, Dennis Rodman is an NBA champion.
Yep,
and then less than a year later, the Bulls manager decides, yeah, let's just blow this whole thing up and rebuild. And the Bulls have been so good ever since.
Oh, yeah. They've been great.
Right? But the Bulls did end up releasing Rodman in January of 99. Still doesn't make sense to me, but oh well.
Well, it was not just him. It was everybody. If Phil and MJ weren't around, there's no way that they were going to be able to... I don't even know what the proper wordage is. Like, nobody can manage Rodman at this time except for Phil and MJ. And I'll throw Pippen in there too. And it was evidenced by him going to the Lakers and then going to the Mavericks, and it didn't go well at all. So, yeah, I totally understand why they got rid of Rodman once they decided to blow up the team. Because once you got Pippen, Jordan, Phil, and others gone, then it's time to just blow this whole thing up. It's over. Should they have blown it up? Hell no. You guys know my view on that. It's the stupidest management move of all time. You just won 3 championships. You could resign everybody to a 1-year deal, and you decide not to do it to go for a fourth championship in a row. Stupidest thing I ever heard of in sports.
He signed with the Lakers, where in 23 games he averaged 2 points and 11 rebounds, and then they cut him, and then he signs with the Mavericks, played 12 games there, received 6 technicals, was ejected twice, and suspended once, though he still did average 14.3 rebounds.
Yeah, for sure.
But just like that, after a total of 35 games in LA and Dallas, Dennis Rodman's NBA career is over. 5 NBA championships, 2 All-Stars, 2 All-NBA teams, 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 8-time All-Defensive Team, 7-time rebounding champion in a row too. And that guy is no longer an NBA player. A guy who really never played high school basketball, worked as a janitor in an airport after
Right.
high school, randomly hit 6'7" after a growth spurt, plays low-level college, found him by the Pistons at a random camp, comes to the NBA, dominates for championship teams, decides he wants to marry himself, dyes his hair a different color after every game, and becomes a tag team duo with Hulk Hogan, all while three-peating as an NBA champion, the most random player of all time, one of the best stories of all time. That's the story of Dennis Rodman.
Hey, great video. Great video. Okay, I'm already subscribed to 2-3. If you guys enjoyed this, go send some love over to 2-3's channel, because this is some cool content. Not much to say about Dennis Rodman that I haven't already said during the video, but it is just absolutely incredible. A guy with his story, his height, his background, his personality, everything about this story is incredible. To look at everything that he accomplished and how he accomplished it. And still to this day, I have him as the greatest rebounder of all time. We've got greatest passers, we've got greatest scorers. He is the greatest rebounder of all time, especially offensive rebounds. It's bar none, second to none, in my opinion. Especially being able to do that at 6'7". I loved watching him. Even when he was a Spur, I loved watching him. He was different. He was one of a kind. Still to this day, there has never been, and there never will be anybody that reminds us of Dennis Rodman. Ben Wallace was the closest, but that was only in play style. That wasn't in personality. To be somebody like Dennis it's never going to happen again, you guys. So I hope we enjoy and appreciate Dennis Rodman for who he is, who he was, what he gave to the sport. Because there's no 2.0 version of him. It wouldn't even be allowed in today's game. The play style that he had, he'd be suspended constantly. He would never get to play. So, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Like I said earlier, I'm linking the original video down below if you want to send 2-3 some love. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. I appreciate you guys watching with me. Hit that bell if you want to get notified for tomorrow morning when the next one comes out. And I wish you all a very peaceful night. Have fun. Tell your loved ones you love them. Be safe. And carpe diem, everyone. All right. Peace out.